My name is Mary, and at 46, life has been a series of unexpected turns. I am married to Senator Jonathan Hart, a man whose charisma and ambition have propelled him into the public eye. Jonathan is my second husband, a fact that often raises eyebrows at political gatherings. From his first marriage, he has a son, Michael, who is now 23, a young man with his father's charm, but none of the political polish. Our lives are a blend of public appearances and private moments, a balance that's often hard to maintain. Tonight, we're preparing for the birthday celebration of our mutual friend, Charles, a well-respected businessman whose parties are the epitome of elegance and discretion. As I stand in front of the mirror, applying my makeup, I can't help but feel the weight of the evening's expectations. The room is filled with the soft scent of my favorite perfume, a delicate reminder of the many layers of my life. Jonathan's political career demands perfection, and tonight, I must be the perfect senator's wife. The dress I've chosen is a deep blue, almost royal, mirroring the depth of our secrets and the facade we maintain. I smooth the fabric over my hips, feeling the cool silk against my skin, a stark contrast to the heat of the spotlight that awaits us. As I apply the last touch of lipstick, a deep, rich red, I catch my reflection's gaze. There's a flicker of something behind my eyes, a hint of the unexpected that has always marked my path. My first marriage ended in a scandal, one that was hushed up for the sake of appearances, but the whispers still linger. Tonight, though, is about celebration. The evening starts with the usual routine. Jonathan is downstairs going over his speech for the event, while I take my time to get ready. The dress I've chosen is a deep emerald green, a color that complements my eyes and the silver streaks in my hair. As I slip into the dress, the fabric whispers against my skin, a cool caress that feels like a promise of the night ahead. Michael arrives, looking sharp in a suit that's too mature for his age, but he insists on making an impression. He greets me with a casual kiss on the cheek, his cologne lingering in the air, a scent that's both familiar and slightly intoxicating. We exchange pleasantries, the usual banter about his studies and my latest charity event. There's an ease between us, a familiarity that comes from years of living under the same roof. Yet tonight, there's an undercurrent, a subtle shift in the air. As we prepare to leave, I notice Michael's gaze lingering on me a bit longer than usual. His eyes, usually so playful, now hold a depth that makes me pause. I dismiss it as nerves about the event, but there's a part of me that feels the warmth of his attention, a warmth that's not entirely unwelcome. We arrive at Charles's mansion, where the atmosphere is electric with the buzz of influential people. The party is in full swing, with laughter and music filling the air. Jonathan is quickly pulled into conversations, leaving Michael and me to mingle. We move through the crowd, our arms occasionally brushing, sending a shiver up my spine. The room is alive with the clinking of glasses and the murmur of secrets shared under the guise of celebration. As we navigate through the crowd, the party becomes a blur of faces and conversations. I find myself needing a moment alone, so I excuse myself to freshen up. The opulent bathroom is a sanctuary, its walls lined with mirrors that reflect the soft glow of chandeliers. I stand before one, reapplying my lipstick, the deep red a stark contrast against my pale skin. The door opens quietly, and in the mirror's reflection, I see Michael. He steps closer, his eyes locked on mine through the glass. There's a tension in the air, a shift from the usual familial warmth to something more charged. "Mary," he whispers, his voice low. "You look stunning tonight." His hand, warm and firm, traces down my back. I should step away, but I don't. Instead, I feel a rush of confusion, desire, and guilt. His touch sends a shiver through me, igniting a fire I thought was long extinguished. In that moment, time seems to slow. The music from the party fades into a distant hum, and the world narrows down to just us. His breath is warm against my neck, his words a soft murmur. I've always admired. You, Mary, more than you know? What follows is a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment that I will regret for the rest of my life. Our lips meet in a kiss that's both forbidden and all-consuming. It's a kiss that speaks of longing, of secrets whispered in the dark, of desires that should never see the light of day. The door could open at any moment, exposing us to the world outside, but the risk only heightens the intensity. My mind screams for me to stop, to remember who I am, who he is, but my body betrays me, responding to his touch with a fervor that's both exhilarating and terrifying. As we part, the reality of what just happened crashes down like a wave. The guilt is immediate, a heavy cloak that drapes over my shoulders. Michael's eyes, now filled with a mix of regret and longing, meet mine again in the mirror. We can't, I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper, thick with emotion. The next morning, the reality of what happened hits me like a cold wave. The house is silent, Jonathan's still asleep, unaware of the storm brewing within me. I sit at the kitchen table, coffee untouched, my mind racing. Michael has already left, avoiding any confrontation. I know I must tell Jonathan, but the words stick in my throat. The day passes in a haze, each moment stretching into eternity. Spend the day in a fog, my thoughts circling back to that forbidden kiss, the warmth of Michael's touch, the guilt that now consumes me. I try to focus on anything else, but my mind betrays me, replaying the scene over and over. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows through our living room, and with it, the moment I've been dreading arrives. Jonathan comes home, unwinding from a day of public appearances, his face tired but still carrying that charismatic smile. I watch him from the doorway, my heart pounding in my chest. He looks up, noticing me, and his smile falters at the sight of my expression. Mary, what's wrong? He asks, concern etching lines into his forehead. I take a deep breath, the weight of my confession pressing down on me. Jonathan, we need to talk, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. He sits down, his eyes searching mine for answers. I move closer, the distance between us feeling like miles. Last night at Charles's party, something happened. I begin, my voice trembling. Michael and we kissed. The silence that follows is deafening. Jonathan's face, usually so composed, crumbles into a mask of betrayal and pain. His eyes, which once looked at me with love, now reflect a storm of emotions. You and Michael. His voice is a mix of disbelief and hurt. I nod, unable to meet his gaze. It was a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. He stands abruptly, pacing the room. How could you, Mary? How could he? His voice rises, a mix of anger and sorrow. This isn't right. The air in the room becomes thick with tension. Jonathan's initial shock turns into a cold, hard anger. He demands details, his voice rising with each word. I recount the events, my voice barely above a whisper. The argument escalates, words like divorce and trust thrown around like weapons. Michael's name becomes a curse in our home. You kissed him? Jonathan's voice cracks, his face a storm of emotions. In our friend's house, at a party where everyone knows us? I nod, the weight of my confession heavy on my chest. It was a moment of weakness, Jonathan. I didn't mean for it to happen. His eyes blaze with fury. A moment of weakness? You've destroyed everything we've built, Mary. Everything. The room feels like it's shrinking, the walls closing in as his anger fills the space. I need space, he says, his voice breaking. I need to think. He storms upstairs, his footsteps echoing through the silence of our home. I hear the drawers opening, the rustling of clothes, and then the sharp zip of a suitcase. When he comes back down, his bag is packed, his movements sharp and decisive. He stands before me, his face a mask of resolve. I can't stay here, Mary. Not after this. The door slams behind him, echoing through the now empty house. I am left alone, the weight of my actions settling around me like a heavy fog. The silence is oppressive, filled with the echoes of our argument, the finality of his departure. I sit on the couch, the fabric cold against my skin, and I think about what will become of Mary now that she's lost everything. The public life, the facade of perfection. It's all crumbling. My mind races, thinking of the scandal that could erupt, the whispers that would follow, the career of a senator's wife now hanging by a thread. Jonathan's absence is palpable, his anger and hurt leaving a void that feels like it could swallow me whole. I wonder if he'll ever come back, if we can salvage anything from the wreckage of our trust. In the weeks that follow, the divorce proceedings are swift and merciless. Jonathan's political career is at stake, and he wants no scandal. I am left with nothing but my name and the memories of what once was. Michael, unable to face the fallout, has moved out, leaving no trace. My friends, once numerous, now keep their distance, unsure how to navigate the scandal. I find myself in a small apartment, the silence deafening. The mirror in my new bathroom reflects a woman I barely recognize. My life, once filled with purpose and companionship, now feels like a series of empty rooms. I've lost my husband, my stepson, my social standing, and in many ways myself. But as I sit there, staring at my reflection, I realize that this is not the end. It's a beginning, a chance to rebuild, to find who I am without the titles and the expectations. The woman in the mirror, with her eyes shadowed by regret and her lips pressed into a thin line of determination, she's not just Mary, the senator's wife, or the woman who made a grave mistake. She's someone who has the power to start anew. The days blend into each other, each one a step towards healing. I start by reclaiming small pieces of myself. I rediscover the joy in simple things, reading books I never had time for, walking through the park without the need to look over my shoulder for photographers, cooking meals just for myself. Each act is a reclamation, a step back towards who I was before the public eye defined me. I reach out to old friends, those who knew me before, the glitz and glamour before the scandal. They welcome me back, not with pity, but with the warmth of genuine friendship. We talk about everything but the past, focusing on the now, on dreams and plans for the future. In this solitude, I find a new kind of companionship. I volunteer at local shelters, finding solace in helping others. Here, I'm not judged by my past, but appreciated for my presence. The people I meet, their stories of resilience and hope, they remind me that life, despite its falls, offers endless opportunities for redemption. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.